Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Becky. Today I'm going to be doing or putting together card number 1 from the Cosette card workshop from Close to My Heart. Maybe I can find the first page somewhere right here. Super cute. Now I have already put together 2 of them and I kind of did them in a kind of different manners. But I think I like this one the best. I know you can't probably see the difference too much, but this one is super dimensional because I stacked, I'll show you that in a bit, but I stacked these layers on top of each other and it made it a bit big, but I still like that. That's still cute. This one's a little bit more flat and the bow's a little bit more stretched out. Let's go ahead and see how I made these. I already have my stamps out as well, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the honey butter one. Okay, so for this one we are going to take our little circle stamp. If you got this kit, we're going to be using this stamp right here. I'm using the light side of honey butter, and we have already pre-cut our pieces. That was the first thing we do when we start with the card kit. We'll cut the pieces and then separate them by project. So now we have all of our pieces. Or so all of our pieces will be ready, I guess. Okay, this is directional. On one of my examples, I did it all upright, and on the other one, I turned it. So they're not all in the same direction. I don't really have a preference, actually, for however it came out. This did better stamping than this one, is what I noticed. I don't really necessarily notice that this is in the upright position and this not so much, so. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp. Lift up my stamp, re-ink. I'm going to kind of come over to the side a little bit. Ooh, I could push these together and do it that way, huh? Come over to the side a little bit. I'm making 3s. 1, 2, 3. So I got a little triangle. So I'm going to make another little triangle with this right here. Now I'm going to make another little triangle with this right here. Make another little triangle right there. Alright. Now what else I did on mine that wasn't called for, I took my ink pad and I just took this and just kind of just put a little ink on the edges. I didn't want to actually pull out anything to do this with, so that's what I did. And it kind of turned out okay. Got a little bit of a crisp line there. And now we got to set these aside to dry. That does, when you do it that way, you do get more ink actually on the edge sometimes, and it does require a little bit more time to dry. This piece right here doesn't really call for anything. It doesn't call for stamping or anything, but I did do the edges in the same way as I did with those honey butter. I just brushed it towards me. See, this one I got a little bit more extra ink on there because I pushed it down further. Okay, that's all for that piece. Now we're going to move on to the toffee pieces. Let's start with this one. This is going to be this quadrant right here. It looks like an envelope. So we're going to stamp our round stamp again in toffee, and then we're going to use the lines that come off of it to look like it was mailed. Now when I did mine, I have got a little bit of a space between there on both of them. I actually think this time I'm going to smush it up closer. I think I would like that better with the lines touching this, or maybe even going through it a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do on this one for stamping. Now this is the one we used on the honey butter. And like I was explaining to you on the honey butter, it is a directional stamp. So if you want it to be, say, Paris up at the top, you need to be mindful of that, okay? I'm going to take the toffee ink. Find my Paris is at the top. Go ahead and give it a stamp. And I'm not trying to be perfect. And then we've got our lines. Now I'm going to try and stamp it, actually get it into the image and see if I like that. Yeah, I think I like that better than how I've done these other ones. I think I like it better touching the image. This I probably should have moved up a little bit. So let's see if we can find perfection on this last one. Sorry if you hear the background noise. Nobody out there cares that I'm in here doing this. Okay, so after that we're gonna, I don't know what this says. It's something scripty. So we're gonna go ahead and stamp that at the bottom. Okay, now we do have to use the toffee ink again on our little tags. We're going to stamp just because. If there's another sentiment that you have or that came on this stamp set that you would prefer, there's one that says peace and comfort, or hello even, by all means you can stamp whatever you want, but the suggested was just because, and I am keeping with what was suggested for this card in particular, because sometimes I do want to send something to somebody just because, you know. So yeah, I think that's a good sentiment. I think this just because stamp probably would get a good, pretty good use in my stash for it. Just because. Okay, so for this tag, we're gonna dirty the edges up. No, we're gonna ink the edges, but not how we did on the ink pad, because this one we want it to look a little more distressed on the front. Unless you don't want it to look like that, then don't do it. But yeah, this is how it is in the kit. So yeah, just following how it says. I took my sponge, cut them into quarters, they're round sponges, but I oftentimes will cut them even smaller, like just take a little pinch out. If you care about getting your fingers dirty, then maybe don't do that. Alright, and on this one, I'm going to do the same. Card bases, they come with the kit. Alright, we're going to lay our cards or our pieces out like that. Now these ones, well actually these ones as well. I'm going to do toffee on these. I'm going to do the same thing. I don't think I did that. Down like this one, the pattern calls for this to be horizontal, but you can certainly put it vertical if you want. So I'm going to stick it like this. I have this right here, and I'm going to put this right here. I'm going to do that on both of my cards, for both of my cards. Okay, now if you have any measuring mistakes, which you can see I've got some issues going on right here, this is where you'd fix it. I like to use my small trimmer for this, and and this isn't a big deal for most people, and it, you know, whatever. I just really like to not have that. So I just use my photo trimmer and just kind of... I'm going to take my toffee ink again and just go around these 3 sides. Now in the directions, it will say stacked. That means you could put 2 pieces of paper together and just put the die on top of it and it's stacked. Okay, which is a good idea most of the time, but I do not advise that for these because they are so small. It's when you stack them, this is stacked, they're hard to get them apart. I've been using either piercer, or I have these other tweezers that have a fine point on them that I would use. So yeah, if you have not done yours yet, I do not advise stacking them. Just take the extra time. Not only that, because this is such a detail, it's a small cut. You can see how the top one, this is the piece that was on top. It's so much nicer and cleaner than the one that was underneath it. So I would just take the extra time to cut them out individually. But you obviously don't have to, but I'm showing you the difference. So it's your decision. These are going to go down on the card like right about here. I'm going to use my art glitter glue for that. Okay guys, we're going to pull out our other die cuts to finish off our card. I do have a cute little anecdote. These little bows, these are the insides to them. Aren't they cute? While I was die cutting them at the kitchen table, and some of these fell on the floor, maybe on purpose because I was just going to sweep them up. And my grandson goes over there and picks them up. I was taking my stuff back into my room, and he goes over and picks them up. Grandma, wait, you forgot the raindrops. You forgot your raindrops on the floor. So there you go. There's a use for the inside bits of your bows. Raindrops. Thank you, Raker. Alright, so what I'm going to do on these is I'm going to do it the way I'm going to do it. You can follow me or the directions. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm not really going to stack them up and make them big, really. I'm going to kind of put them like side by side, kind of like that. I'm going to put these down, and then I'm going to come in with my tag, and then I'll put the other 2 bits down. The other 2 loopy bits down. I'm just going to put the liquid adhesive toward the bottom. I'm not going to put it on the loop part. Okay, next I'm going to come with my tag, and I'm just going to kind of stick it in here right like that. I'm going to put the adhesive right up here. I'm going to go ahead and stick it down. That looks fine. That looks fine to me. Okay, I'll take one of these small ones. I'm going to put one like right here. I'll put one like right here. Something like that. Alright, then we have our little ribbon end pieces. Put on here. And just adjust them to what looks nice to your eye. Okay, and then there's one final piece that went missing. I lost my baby piece. No worries. I've got one of the raindrops. I'll just cut the baby piece out of the raindrop. So that up. Okay, the final step now is just to add our little flower detail. So I'm just going to pop 2 of these out of here. These are laser cut flowers. They're so gorgeous. Beautifully cut. Just amazing. I love these. They're very nice. So we're just going to use a little liquid adhesive to put that down, and then our card will be finished. This art glitter glue, it does dry clear, so it dries clear and matte. It's not glossy. Alright guys, that's the first card from the Cosette card making workshop. I'll put our available card workshops down below. These are so much fun. I really enjoy doing them. Really enjoy making these. Alright guys, here's my first 2 previous ones. You can see like how this one's got quite a bit of dimension in there. All stacked up on top of each other right there. Yeah, I like these. I think they're pretty cute. Alright guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. If you'd like to support my channel, please go to beckybidding.closetomyheart.com. Check the links down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.